All right, so it's the emulator being... Right now I have... The reason I keep going to BRB whenever I go to close the game is because on the way out, it shows my email address in the thing, which I don't want people knowing. It has my full name in it. But the way the emulator works is I put it in streaming mode so that there's, like, I have it showing a window that's just the game without the phone interface. And as soon as I closed that, it seemed like the audio issue went away. So I guess in the future, it's not that hard to just cycle that out and back in. It's weird that it keeps happening, though. And it didn't happen the last couple times we streamed this. Now, let's hear your testimony again, this time without your perfume of lies. Kyle H. Style. That's me.
I did enter the Fox chamber after the murder, but I didn't enter until after Jinxie had heard the confession and left. I heard the mayor groan and hid behind the folding screen there. What I saw there up close, it was absolutely horrifying. So you see, I was there, but merely watching from behind the screen.
From behind the screen? Why, yes, I believe you wouldn't be spotted if you were there. Just so. He could see everything without being spotted by the victim or that Tanuki Filch. Suffice to say, he was a mere witness to the events, rather than an actual third party. This guy's as slippery as an eel. Apollo, you think he's telling the truth? Well, he is in a Phoenix Wright game. Well, he was in the Fox chamber, so at least that much must be true.
The defense may cross-examine our slightly voyeuristic witness.
All right. Add groaning to the list of things that people do while they're unconscious. He's like, I confessed to I fell unconscious, and then I murdered someone, and then I confessed to the murder, and then I opened the Fox door, and then I groaned. He had a big to-do list. To do while unconscious. When we press on this, he's going to say something incriminating. Could you describe the crime scene in a little more detail?
And what exactly would you like details about?
What I'd like to ask about is the feathers and tracks. What do you remember about the yokai feathers and tracks?
They resulted when Temataro exited the Forbidden Chamber. He came out in quite a rush, scattering feathers this way and that.
Did you immediately know it was Mr. Filch?
I did. Well, that's why I suggested we cook up our alibis together.
And how did those practice sessions go?
They were nearly the death of me. Filchy has to be the worst student ever.
He really doesn't think he's done anything wrong, does he? Is it important? Not so. Probably not particularly important. No, Your Honor. The witness may proceed.
All right, then. I would just like to add it was a terribly grisly scene, as I have described.
I'm going to press on pause. Ooh, murder weapon. Could you describe the state of the weapons that had been used at the scene?
The spear had been thrust all the way through Alderman Huey. Then there was that statue the Alderman used to bludgeon Mayor Tenma. It had a cup on it.
Yeah.
That incredibly inspiring symbol had fallen to the floor.
Oh, right, the statue. But why would he find it inspiring? Why exactly did you find the statue inspiring? Now, If this was a real court case, the prosecution would object to this because it's so irrelevant, except it's actually how we're going to prove that he's a murderer.
Well, when I saw that statue, I felt as if the murder had been realized. It was like a celebration of union between town and village, an inspiring symbol of goodwill.
Broken statue next to a bloody corpse. Real inspiring. I certainly do. Is it important? It's very important. I believe that to be extremely important. I request it be added to the testimony. Womp womp. Oh, wait. Where is it? Womp womp.
Objection!
Your lies have finally betrayed you, Mr. LaBelle.
What possibly could you mean?
You said this statue was like a celebration of union between town and village. Isn't that correct?
It is indeed, but what of it? The two yokai are joining hands in goodwill, as if they were celebrating the municipal murder. Something the matter?
So, how did you really know that this statue was meant to be a symbol of goodwill again?
What?
Justice Dunno. Explain yourself, and make it quick. This statue was meant to symbolize goodwill in its original form, but that was a secret.
A secret? Whatever do you mean?
What I mean is that it broke when someone used it to strike Mayor Tenma on the head. What's left clearly makes it look like these two yokai are battling it out. The statue's secret and its true form were lost inside that locked room. How poetic. For Ms. Tenma is the only living soul who should know what it once looked like. So, Mr. LaBelle, where could you have possibly seen that statue in its original form?
What do you mean, where?
The only possible answer is this. You saw the statue in its original form. Right there in the room where the alderman was murdered, before it was broken.
How dare you?
Mr. Justice, are you accusing the witness of some sort of crime? Yes. Yes, I am. Florent LaBelle, I accuse you of the murder of Alderman Rex Cuby. Order, order. Mr. LaBelle, you've been accused of murder. Do you have anything to say in your defense?
How could you possibly accuse me, the embodiment of beauty?
Way to go, Apollo. This is the conclusive evidence we needed. Magnifico. We've got you now. We know you killed the alderman. Now, admit it. No reason.
Silence.
Enough of your silly games, Justice Dunno. This prancing peacock could not possibly be the killer.
Objection!
What are you talking about? His alibi has already crumbled to dust, and I just proved that he was in the Fox chamber while it was still locked.
Silence.
Why could he have not seen the statue in its true form before the murder? After all, he was close friends with the alderman. Ergo.
Yes, that's right. I clearly remember it now. Alderman Cuby told me about it. About what the statue actually looked like. I mean, he was a good friend of mine.
Objection!
Yeah, right. He wouldn't show you a secret gift just like that.
Silence!
Moreover, it has already been proven that he was not present at the scene of the crime.
It has?
Forgotten, have we? Recall the little scamp's statement, if you will. When Jinxie Tenma unlocked the Fox Chamber, she saw the altar and the mayor collapsed therein, and no one else.
Oh, dang it.
The fact is, it was you two who made that apparent in yesterday's court session. Thus, Florent Labelle could not possibly have been in that locked room.
No, Ugh!
Getting tense. I just don't get it.
How could Jinxie not have seen LaBelle?
The proof is incontrovertible. No room for debate exists. Am I not right, your baldness?
It does seem awfully conclusive. The facts point to the defendant and victim being the only people in that locked room. Moreover, the defendant has already confessed.
Objection! Silence!
You cannot defend the indefensible. Your role in this charade is over, Justice Deneau.
But
Your baldness. This trial would last an eternity if we were to keep crossing blades with these simpletons. It is high time we brought down the hammer of justice.
a point well made. I believe it's time to declare a verdict. This court finds the defendant, Damien Tenma,
Caw. It would seem that my time is at hand.
Mayor Tenma.
Counselor, there is a matter to which I must testify. I recall it now only for your good graces.
Counselor. Oh, he must mean me. Has he finally remembered what happened before that blow to his head?
Bailiff, don't just stand there. Seize him.
It's no good. I can't restrain him.
Caw. Know me and despair. For I am Tenma Taro, demon lord of the yokai.
Bailiff, not pictured. I can't restrain him. Mr. Justice, do something. Since when am I responsible for court security? Apollo, this is our chance. We might get some new information out of him. Your Honor, seeing as our client has something new to say, I believe due process demands that we hear him out, even if he is a yokai.
When you put it that way...
Still, I believe testimony by a yokai is unprecedented in the legal world. Bailiff, there's a killer loose in the courtroom. Restrain him. No, not me.
Not me, the other guy.
The other guy who's a killer. All right.
Unprecedented in absurdity, more like.
It is pretty funny. It's like there's been a killer on the loose for the past half hour, and the bailiffs have done nothing. All right then, Mr. Damien Tenma, or should I say, Mr. Tenma Taro, your testimony, please.
I shall now speak of recollections most real, courtesy of my host Damien Tenma. Heed these words, mortal, for hear them you but once you shall, until we get to the part where you cross-examine me, and may hear them as many times as you like.
The ruler of Demonkind.
Barely conscious was Damien there amid the darkness. Suddenly 2 yokai did appear.
On one side, I, Tenmataro, ruler of demonkind, and on the other, my mortal enemy, the nine-tailed fox. Would you rather it was a fox fighting a snake? So, is the defendant asserting that the room he was in was very dark at the time? Strange as it may be, yes, indeed, all was in darkness. And the part about Tenmataro and the nine-tailed fox being there? Yes, that too. Tenmataro cowered overhead, and the nine-tailed fox glittered gold. I call animal abuse, Your Honor. It would seem the defendant's recollections are not to be trusted. Yes, well, truth be told, my host's recollections are still a bit fuzzy, as if half-dreamt that happening lingers in his mind. Apollo, maybe I can help here. Really? You? Oh, you mean... Yeah, I can hear it. The discord in his heart. I sense an unusual emotion in the mayor's memory of the event. Okay, I just hope our findings don't come back to haunt us again. So I'm wondering if when he was fading in and out of consciousness, if he was actually in the Forbidden Chamber. Because there was a mural in there, right? Wasn't there? We don't have a picture, do we? We don't have a picture of the Forbidden Chamber, but there was a picture. I mean, there was a painting in there. Barely conscious was Damien there amid the darkness, sad. Suddenly, two yokai did appear. On one side, I, Tenmataro, ruler of demonkind, and on the other, my mortal enemy, my most mortal enemy, the nine-tailed fox. When the nine-tailed fox appeared, you not only experienced shock and sadness, but also something like joy as well. Joy? Perhaps it was joy at the light coming to my eyes at long last. A long and terrible creaking did pierce the silence, and then there was light. On reflection, it was a door that did produce that infernal racket. A lot of people don't like the mood matrix. I don't think it's as... Well, I haven't really seen it in action yet. We've only done it like 3 times. So we'll see. I'll withhold judgment. A creaking door? Oh, you must be talking about the Forbidden Chamber door. It does make a lot of noise. So this means the Forbidden Chamber really was opened. But what about the sudden light he described? I think I know. He mentioned darkness and Tenmataro towering overhead. It's a tough one. Maybe the mayor wasn't really in the Fox Chamber at the time of the crime. Mr. Mayor, did the darkness that you were in happen to be here? In the telephone?
Take that!
The Forbidden Chamber. Was it not the Fox Chamber where the murder did occur? Yes, but it all makes sense if you were in the Forbidden Chamber. That terrible creaking sound was probably the Forbidden Chamber's door opening. And the towering Tenmataro you saw? Most likely the Forbidden Chamber's statue. Why, yes, that would explain it. Oh, was I wrong? Was there not a nine-tailed fox? I thought there was a picture on the wall. Perhaps not. The darkness and the staff in the demon's grasp. But even if all that's true, then what about the nine-tailed fox? Maybe he was seeing things, just like Jinxie and her imaginary yokai. Fantastico, Apollo! It's entirely possible. In a groggy, dreamlike state, people can misremember things and events.
Misremember, you say? Let me think. Ah, I do believe I remember now. Judge, allow me to testify again, but tell the truth this time. That was not the nine-tailed fox. It was the amazing Ninetales.
What? The amazing Ninetales?
At first, this is but a dream, I thought. Now, however, most clearly do I recall it. It was the amazing Ninetales who did open the Forbidden Chamber's door.
60%, that's still a lot of noise. I don't believe you yet. I'm sorry I asked. The amazing Ninetales? But that was the victim, Alderman Cuby, right? Yeah, why would he open the Forbidden Chamber? Wasn't he trying to keep it sealed? Never mind that, this is completely new information. Let me enter it and run an update. Alright, so we got sadness, all unconscious. Sadness and shock. Door open.
Got it!
Yeah, now it's weird that he would be sad or upset about that, I guess. When the amazing Ninetales opened the chamber, banishing the darkness within, you felt joy, but didn't you also feel shock and sadness?
Yes, in the hazy depths of my mind, I do recall something of that nature. I believe it was the fiend's cape of red. For when I did behold it, a great wave of sadness did inexplicably wash over me.
A cape of red? Apollo, we've reduced the noise level. Oh, but there's still a little left. Mayor Tenmo, why were you sad when you saw the red cape?
Why indeed?
What could this mean? I guess his memory is still a little spotty. I know, because his latest recollection contradicts the evidence. Yeah, it's one of those contradictions that slaps you right across the face. Does he not wear a cape? He doesn't appear to wear a cape. Something this obvious could arise when someone is trying to force a fuzzy memory into a definitive shape. Apollo, you know what you have to do. Or I know what you need to do. You need to present evidence that contradicts the image you see. Oh, so it's basically the same as the usual cross-examination process, except through a computer that can read people's minds by hearing them, hearing their heart voice. I have to read the manual again. Okay, time to review the evidence. Look out, contradiction, here comes justice. Yeah, we're gonna present the picture and say, he doesn't wear a cape.
Objection!
It's impossible for someone who doesn't wear a cape to start wearing a cape. You said the amazing Ninetales cape was red. Are you sure about that?
Well, yes, I do believe it was a red cape I saw, but...
Mayor Tenma, does this cape look red to you? I don't see a cape at all. I see tails.
Oh, that certainly does not look red, not even scarlet or crimson either. Nevertheless, upon my liberation, something red did fill my as yet hazy field of view, and I thought to myself, the amazing Ninetales is arrayed in a cape of red.
So you mistook that red something for his cape, huh?
Apparently so, and remembering it now brings a great sadness upon me.
So the red something probably wasn't a cape after all. Maybe that great sadness he mentioned is what's interfering with his memory. Well, He would have seen the fox chamber behind the amazing Ninetales. What red object could he have seen there that would have been shocking? Was it the swordsman in red? So what? I guess I'm just gonna say that
Take that!
something red that could produce a deep sadness. Could it be, Mr. Tenma, that what you saw was the alderman's blood? Okay. What a weird way to say, okay, his blood, is to present the picture of him skewered on the table, which is very different from what we're talking about right now. Unless the person who was wearing the fox mask was someone else, and the alderman really was dead on the table at the time.
Blood. Why, yes, it was blood.
That was fun.
It's all coming back to me now. It wasn't a red cape that I saw. It was lying behind the amazing Ninetales, the alderman's bloody body.
Gotcha. Okay. Alright, so we still have a confusing chain of events here. His noise level is down to 0. I think he's remembered everything now. Does this mean the amazing Ninetales killed Alderman QB? But the Alderman was the amazing Ninetales, so how exactly would that work? It would work exactly the same as every other Phoenix Wright game where someone puts on a costume. Nobody has ever appeared in their own costume. It's always somebody else. Hey, I asked you first.
Well, Mr. Justice, you sure know how to make a complicated matter even more complicated.
True, but at the time of the crime, our client was in the Forbidden Chamber. Moreover...
Silence!
Hoy, don't you think this strange? The little scamp has already confirmed her father to be in the Fox Chamber, but she said naught about seeing the amazing Ninetales there.
Ack? You just had to bring that up, didn't you? Jinxie didn't see LaBelle there either. It's so weird. Who really was in that room then?
Would the defense care to share any theories with the court? Can you explain the inconsistency between the defendant's testimony and his daughter's?
Probably. I'm gonna say yes. Otherwise, it's game over. Maybe. Yes, of course I can explain it. Because if I don't, we're in serious trouble. Speaking of which, let's keep saving.
Not with more of your bluffs and fairy tales, I trust. Fair warning, Justice Delon. I shall have your head if you fail to explain this.
Eep? What about a good old-fashioned penalty?
Well, Mr. Justice, let's see if you have a head worth keeping on your shoulders.
First of all, Mr. LaBelle was definitely in the Fox Chamber while it was locked. We also know that Mayor Tenma... was in the Forbidden Chamber, based on his testimony. These two facts are crucial to my explanation, so let us consider the following question. If the facts point to Florent LaBelle and the victim being there at the scene, why did Jinxie Tenma see the victim and her father, Mayor Tenma? very good question indeed, and I suppose you have an answer for us. Sadly, you would be supposing you think she could have mistaken LaBelle for the mayor? That I had just considered. I was like, did he like do his quick black hairspray and go, "Oh, I'm actually your dad," and you didn't notice the difference? Well, she did, then the question is, why did she do that? Well, how about that explanation, Mr. Justice? I believe the time for questions is over. The defense asserts that Florent LaBelle was at the scene of the crime. However, Jinxie Tenma has testified that she saw her father collapse there. If she has, in fact, misremembered the event, what could have made her do so? I don't think she got the rooms mixed up. I do think she was confused, but do we really think this? Did they look anything at all alike? These two look alike. He could disguise himself as this guy, no problem, but... The figure Ms. Tenma saw was not her father. It was Florent LaBelle, disguised as Damien Tenma.
Silence.
That is a complete impossibility. Their faces are utterly unalike. How could you explain that away with a mere disguise? Yes, they do. They both do have incredibly distinctive faces. Ah. But... Jinxie has prosopagnosia. Maybe the disguise completely hid his face. I think Jinxie would have mentioned if she couldn't see her father's face. And if it was that sort of disguise, wouldn't she have removed it? Oh, right. Your sword is as dull as your mind, Justice Stone. Shall I show you what a truly sharp blade is capable of? I think I'll pet. Ah! Oh, he really killed me. Oh, I'm really dead for real. This is the game where Apollo dies. Okay. Also, this is 8 years before the other case, so this actually caused a time paradox. Snake, what have you done? You've caused a time paradox. Are you okay, Apollo? I'm not fine, am I? Well, now that we have the little fairy tale out of the way, your baldness, your verdict, if you will. Mr. Justice, I believe it's time for a verdict, if you have no further arguments. What's even left for me to do? So, okay, so, either there was no right answer for that, and they just have you choose how you want to fail, or this was the correct answer and we're going to turn it around. Apollo, remember what Mr. Wright always says? When you're stuck in a tight spot, turn the case upside down. Turn the case upside down? He does say that, doesn't he? But I don't quite see how it applies here. Still, never hurts to give it a try, I guess. Let's see. Rather than Jinxie didn't remove the disguise, maybe she couldn't remove it. This reversal, I'm sure, works better in Japanese. And rather than she didn't tell anyone about the disguise, maybe it was she couldn't talk about it. A wrestler's mask is more precious than his own life. He'd never unmask himself in front of others. But there are matches where wrestlers battle for the right to remove each other's masks. To have your mask torn off is the worst humiliation a wrestler could suffer. That's why their masks are more important to them than life itself. And what about the fact that it was the Amazing Ninetales who opened the door? A mask that can't be removed in front of others? Can these facts turn things around? We got it all backwards. Apollo? I think we might have made a huge mistake. Your baldness, I see no need to further indulge them in their silly little farce. The defense has no proof. They never did, and they never will. Then it seems I must announce my verdict.
Objection!
I do have proof. Do you now? All right, but this better be good, Mr. Justice. We can solve the remaining riddles by turning all of our assumptions upside down. Why Jinxie Tenma mistook Mr. LaBelle for her father. Why she couldn't remove the costume or tell anyone about it in the first place. These riddles are inextricably linked to Mayor Tenma's secret identity. A shocking secret identity that will turn the entire premise of this case upside down. This piece of evidence clearly shows Mayor Tenma's secret identity. He was really the Amazing Ninetales? Gah! What absolute claptrap, poppycock, balderdash, and other words that mean the same thing. We thought the alderman was the Amazing Ninetales, and the mayor was Tenma Taro. That's why we believed the mayor killed the alderman in his lust for Ninetales Vale. And it was the basis for the prosecution's entire case against our client. However, we got the whole thing gyakten. Mayor Tenma wasn't Tenma Taro at all. He was the Amazing Ninetales. What's this? Big Nani?
I can't do it if you're
Blind umpire host.
Just turn around. All right.
Hello, blind.
Can't do it if you're leering at me. It's creepy.
We're at the climax of the case. There's probably only one question left to answer in order to put this guy away for good. You'd best explain yourself, Justice Dono. And from where you derived such a far-fetched conclusion. Jinxie no doubt knew the true identity of the Amazing Ninetales, but she couldn't tell anyone no matter what. Oh yes, my host alert is indeed Wheatley from Portal. That's why she didn't say it was the Amazing Ninetales she saw passed out, even though, unbeknownst to her, it was really Florent LaBelle in disguise.
Silence!
The accused and the deceitful dandy are utterly dissimilar in physical build and voice. Scamp would have seen the difference.
Objection!
Remember, Mr. LaBelle has his very own brand of cosmetics. Why couldn't he fake a different build, too? Really? Makeup. He put on makeup to give himself muscles. And anyone speaking through a mask would naturally sound different.
Silence!
Why did she not simply pull the mask off?
Objection!
A masked wrestler's disguise is more precious than life itself. As a huge fan of the Amazing Ninetales, she would never dare unmask him. God. I saw it. I saw the golden slash. He's been slashed with the golden truth. Here it comes. This case of mistaken identity also explains the riddle of the locked room. Then by all means, Mr. Justice, answer it for us already. First, Mr. LaBelle entered the room where the mayor and alderman were talking. I suspect he brought with him coffee laced with some sort of sedative. Once the alderman was out cold, that's when Mr. LaBelle killed him. Next, he took the mayor, who he had also drugged, into the forbidden chamber. Then he returned to the Fox Chamber, slipped into some of the mayor's spare clothes, and completed the disguise by donning the Amazing Ninetales mask. With his entire charade in place, Mr. LaBelle then let out a scream. The scream that led Jinxie Tenma to the scene. The theme that plays during the Golden Truth reveal is called Justice. Very nice. I really, really should go back and finich. This is all Umineko. I never watched the last chapter. Which I say last chapter, but it's still like 20 hours long. But still, I need to go see it. The person who said, I killed Alderman QB was... Yep, that was Florent LaBelle in disguise. The mayor never actually confessed. This is no more than guesswork and speculation. Now stop your jabbering.
Objection!
No, you twisted samurai. This time you stop your jabbering and let me finish making my case. Arg! Once Ms. Tenma left the scene, Mr. LaBelle, still wearing the mayor's clothes and mask, opened the forbidden chamber so he could drag the mayor back out into the fox chamber. Oh, so the amazing Ninetales the mayor saw was right. It was LaBelle opening the forbidden chamber. The second time Mr. LaBelle opened the door to the forbidden chamber, he happened to catch the thieving Mr. Filch by surprise. Startled, Mr. Filch, in his Tenmataro disguise, ran away as fast as he could from the room. As he did, he left behind him a trail of feathers and tracks, and gave Ms. Tenma the scare of her life in the hallway. So that wasn't even part of the murder plan? That was just, by pure coincidence, Filch happened to, at that very moment, be sneaking into the Forbidden Chamber in a Tenmataro costume. Just because, with no one left to witness the events that had occurred, Mr. LaBelle then proceeded to drag the sleeping mayor back into the Fox Chamber. I see. Well, that all certainly does make sense. Then, after dragging the mayor back into the Fox Chamber, Mr. LaBelle threw the mask out the window and fled the room.
Silence!
For this absurd theory to work, it requires that the defendant be the Amazing Ninetales. However, he was the one pushing for the municipal merger. That such an individual could possibly be the Amazing Ninetales is preposterous.
Objection!
The mayor was blackmailed into pursuing the merger. Ms. Tenma's life would have been in danger if he had openly voiced his opposition. That's why he created a secret identity as the Amazing Ninetales. Gah! This is madness. No one could possibly hatch such an insane plot. Yes, that's the craziest part of all this. The craziest part of all this is that he created a wrestler persona. No one except a killer as insane as his plot, and I'd say Florent LaBelle more than qualifies. Foolish mortal, it is at your own peril that you forget who I am. Mayor Tenma, it's okay now. Jinxie will be safe just as soon as Mr. LaBelle is arrested. You are the Amazing Ninetales, aren't you?
You have quite the active imagination. Mayor Tenma is not the Amazing Ninetales.
Objection!
What do you mean?
Well, has the mayor admitted to it yet?
But that's just...
And even if he did admit to such nonsense, I will reveal the truth behind Tenmataro right here and now.
What?
Why, you would dare reveal the secret? My good friend, the Alderman, told me all about it. But it wouldn't be good to expose the truth, what with the superstitions now, would it?
The truth behind Tenmataro? What's he talking about?
So, go ahead, say it. Say I am the Amazing Ninetales. I dare you. Arg.
Objection!
Wait! Will somebody please explain what's going on here?
Mayor Tenma will do anything to keep the truth behind Tenmataro a secret. A dark, terrible truth that has been kept secret by the village superstitions.
And if the mayor admits to being the Ninetales, you'll expose the truth?
Right, I won't have him walking free because of some nonsense you made up.
So what now, Justice Dunno? Without the mayor's admission, your theory is as useless as you are in battle. I'll show you who's useless. Apollo, don't you dare give up now. I know. Your Honor, I believe Mr. LaBelle's statements warrant a thorough cross-examination. After all, the true identity of the Amazing Ninetales is the cornerstone of this case.
You do have a point there. Please answer this court, Mr. LaBelle. Is the defendant the Amazing Ninetales or not? The Amazing Ninetales' true identity is not Mayor Tenma. The mayor would never admit to such utter nonsense. But if he did admit to such nonsense, I will expose the truth behind Tenmataro right here and now, and that would bring ruin upon Ninetales Vale, just as the superstitions say.
Talk about out of the pot and into the fire. Out of the pan? At this rate, the mayor will be found guilty for sure, which, let's not forget, is ridiculous.
Honestly speaking, if Mayor Damien Tenma is not the Amazing Ninetales, I'm afraid I don't see how the defense has much of a case here. And let's just leave it at that, shall we? We all know Alderman Kubi was the Amazing Ninetales anyway. I mean, that's how Ninetales Vale made a comeback. The Alderman was so popular.
There's gotta be a hole in that testimony somewhere, but I don't even know where to start. Since we don't have any proof that the mayor is the Amazing Ninetales, then we'll just have to get him to admit it himself. But if he admits it, LaBelle's going to expose the secret behind Tenmataro. Arg, we were so close. I know it.
The defense may cross-examine the witness.
So I guess, are we going to forcefully reveal the secret, and then the mayor is going to go, oh, well, no reason for me to care about that anymore.
Hold it!
And just how did you learn of this so-called truth behind Tenmataro?
Alderman Kubi told me all about it. The secret of the Forbidden Chamber, and the truth behind Tenmataro.
Why would he share secrets like that with you, Mr. LaBelle?
Because of the Alderman's wife. I was looking after her after she was hospitalized. He appreciated it so much, he shared the secrets with me.
Wait, did he threaten the alderman in addition to the mayor? Don't tell me that's how he learned how to open the Forbidden Chamber.
Needless to say, I'm not above revealing the truth behind Tenmataro.
Hold it!
Do not gaze upon Tenmataro. Do not tell others if you see him. Isn't that what the village superstitions say?
Exactly. Telling others what Tenmataro looks like would reveal the truth. That's why the superstitions were written down in the first place.
And ruin coming to the village if you free him? Is that a warning not to expose the truth?
Bingo! And that truth is, Tenmataro is a great greed-inspiring fortune. That's what the whole battle over Ninetales Vale is all about.
Tenmataro is a great fortune. Come to think of it, only that it's the greatest get-rich-quick scheme. Nobody says get-rich-quick and then doesn't say scheme afterwards. Only that it's the greatest get-rich-quick trick. Get-rich-quick plot. Only that it's the greatest get-rich-quick keikaku in the universe. Grandpappy told me all about it. Said there's an amazing treasure in there. So we're gonna reveal that the treasure was already stolen? Telling the villagers that Tenmataro is a terrifying yokai is what has scared them away from the Forbidden Chamber and the treasure within. That's how the treasure has been kept secret all this time.
Well. It seems our ace attorney here has uncovered the truth that must not be revealed.
Mayor Tenma looks like he wants to keep the truth hidden as much as I do.
Tragedy is doomed to repeat itself as long as Tenmataro exists. That's why the secret must be protected.
I kind of forget they told us the origin story, and I think I forgot it. As long as Tenmataro exists, huh? Mr. LaBelle, please add that statement to your testimony, and now we'll present the stolen thing.
Hold it!
I think. Let's just check this again. So in other words, tragedy wouldn't occur at all if there were no Tenmataro?
Yes, I suppose so, but that's wishful. This is LaBelle. Yes. You don't say.
As long as Tenmataro exists, huh? How's the mayor supposed to admit to his secret identity now? Well, we have to find a way to make his case unravel. There must be a hole in the world. So okay. Ba-boom, 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 ba-boom. Present. Tenmataro, the treasure, no longer exists.
Objection!
Boom. Mr. LaBelle, what if Tenmataro no longer existed? Revealing the truth would no longer be an issue, would it?
If Tenmataro no longer existed? What on earth are you talking about?
Oh, apparently you haven't heard. Tenmataro no longer exists. But I guess you didn't get to do a thorough search after the key was taken from you. Because when we searched the Forbidden Chamber, there wasn't any treasure there.
Really? Well, maybe you weren't looking in the right place.
Sorry, but I have proof that Tenmataro no longer exists. Take a look at this figure.
What do we have here? It looks like some sort of creature.
We found this in the Forbidden Chamber. It's an Azuki Kozo figure. The great thief, Azuki Kozo, used to leave them at the scene of his crimes.
Are you suggesting that Tenmataro has been stolen?
Yep. Phineas Filch's grandfather, a master thief, was the culprit.
And by that hideous moronic caretaker's grandfather, no less? You! No! My beautiful golden Tenmataro was...
The greed inspired by Tenmataro can no longer bring ruin to Ninetales Vale. Isn't that right, Mayor Tenma?
The root of tragedy would indeed seem to be gone. In fact, I now recall the alderman revealing the secret to me on the day of our meeting. He must have been speaking of Tenmataro, for he said to me the gold ingot was gone.
The gold ingot? You mean the treasure that You mean the treasure that is Tenmataro's true form?
Recall, if you will, the scroll in the Forbidden Chamber. Tenmataro is the yellowish object shown there. A giant gold ingot that my nomadic ancestors bestowed upon Ninetales Vale. In return for that gold, my ancestors did receive from Ninetales Vale land that would become Tenma Town. But drive the villagers mad with greed did that great fortune. Bitter was their greed-fueled battle. It was as if they were possessed by a demon. My ancestors' gold became as a curse upon their village, a curse of ruin. Thus it was that the yokai Tenmataro came to be.
So, Tenmataro and the village superstitions were merely fairy tales to scare people away. Fairy tale or not, Tenmataro made quite a mess of things.
Yes, indeed, for there is no greater monster than a mortal man's lust for gold.
Well, you know what they say, the love of money is the root of all evil. She actually said the correct quote, because a lot of people misquote it as money is the root of all evil. I don't know who said it, so I don't know where I'm getting that from, that that's the correct quote, but whatever.
My ancestors did bring a terrible thing here to Ninetails Vale, a thing so terrible that Tenmataro, a monster just as terrible, had to be created to keep it a secret. Yet we have naught but love for the little village to which we owe our very existence.
Right? Rare.
Tenma Town would never seek to take over Ninetails Vale in a merger.
Oh my, that was quite a shocking lesson in history. Mr. Mayor, now that we know Tenmataro no longer exists, are you ready to admit your secret? You are the amazing Ninetails, aren't you?
No, don't do it. Please. No.
Actually, I got his voice wrong at the end.
Begone, you demented demon.
Oh, that's quick.
Ahem, now, where was I? The Golden Lord. The Obonkyo of the yokai, the amazing Ninetails, is indeed me. The raven was actually a fox.
And that means Jinxie. How did you get here? Yes? The man wearing the mayor's clothes who you saw collapsed in the fox chamber, was he wearing the amazing Ninetails mask? Uh-huh. That's what made me think it was Papa. Bible, that would have been my first guess. I didn't want to misattribute it, though. I felt like that's where I heard it from. He said he was going to reveal his secret identity to Alderman Cuby that day, so... So it really wasn't Papa I saw there, was it?
It was Florent's idea from the start. He advised me to reveal my secret identity to the Alderman.
Yeesh, Rube Goldberg machines have less elaborate setups than LaBelle's scheme.
You may rest easy now, little Jinxie. That monster's deception is through. Caw, 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 caw.
The true facts behind this case have finally come to light. Mayor Tenma did not kill Alderman Cuby, but Florent LaBelle did.
Oh, dare you, peasant? No!
Silence.
I was gonna say, we're gonna have one last thing, right? Somehow?
Justice don't know.
What evidence haven't we used yet?
You should at least have a real blade in your hands if you desire to cross swords with me. Or have you mistaken this battlefield for a training ground?
What's this guy want now?
Evidence is like a razor-sharp blade that cuts through bone as though it were butter. But you have only blind guesses, a dull blade incapable of cutting even a cake.
He has you there, Mr. Justice. After all, evidence is everything in a court of law. But...
They're right. Let's see some evidence. course, a perfect being like me wouldn't leave any incriminating evidence behind. This is the final battle. Just as a samurai must live and die by the sword, you will live or die by the evidence you hold. My swift blade of judgment awaits. Now present your conclusive evidence, or don't you have any? Oh, crud. Do I have anything conclusive? Evidence? Oh, I have evidence. I got evidence for days. You do? Of course. It's just the conclusive evidence we need, too. This bluffer. This bluffing bluffer. I'm finally going to prove Mayor Tenma innocent. Here comes justice. Are we going to make a manga? Are we going to compose a manga and present that as our final evidence? Let's review the facts. The most damning evidence against the mayor was the crime scene itself. The mayor and the victim were the only two people found in the room. Also, we all thought the alderman was killed because he was the Amazing Ninetales, but as we now know, of course, we were way off. The Amazing Ninetales is really Mayor Damien Tenma. That's why, when his daughter Jinxie saw the Amazing Ninetales collapse at the scene, she mistook him for her father. But can you spell the word evidence in this fun game? Improved. In this improved fun game. Those are the facts as we have revealed. However, Mr. LaBelle asserts that he did not leave any evidence at the scene of the crime, but he didn't say anything about evidence outside the crime scene. Maybe he isn't as clever as he thinks. Does any of the evidence found outside the crime scene provide any clues? This, I guess, was dropped by what's-his-name, so this doesn't count. We're gonna say it's the mask. A clue inside the mask. Oh, I know. The Amazing Ninetales mask. It was found washed up along the river. What sort of clue does that mask hold? Ooh, well, I don't know why there would be white hair in there. What was the patch of golden fur? I forget, but let's go with it. Patch of golden animal fur. It was found caught inside the window at the crime scene. Oh, but that's evidence from inside the Fox chamber. I should be thinking about evidence that was found outside the crime chamber. Alright, good. No penalty. White hair. If we fail this, then Apollo is the killer. Because we're Danganronpa now. I'm gonna be voted as the blackened. And about the hair left in the mask, who does it belong to? Him? There would never be any point where he had the mask on, right? Oh, right. That hair is Florent LaBelle's. Now that's what I call conclusive evidence. Do you have any conclusive evidence to present this court? I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was surfboarding inside my own logic mind. Of course I do. Observe this mask, if you will. That mask? How is that conclusive evidence? It's not the mask itself, but the white hair inside it. We originally thought it belonged to Alderman Rex Cuby. Yes, but the Amazing Ninetales, as we now know, they love that phrase, as we now know, is Mayor Tenma. So that is correct. So the question is, whose hair could this be? And the answer to that is the last person to have worn it before it was discarded. That would be you, Mr. Florent LaBelle. What are you talking about? I never had hideous white hair like that.
Silence.
It would appear your coup de grace failed to hit its mark. This freakish fop is not the white hair type, because he's busy being one ludicrously garish color.
Objection!
No, Prosecutor Blackwell. It's you who has made a fatal error. What? Remember where this mask was found? It washed up by the side of the river. With that in mind,
This last piece of evidence will solve it because it can be washed out. He said it comes out with just water. Hair color that washes out with water.
Take that!
That's...
What is that? This is Mr. LaBelle's own private brand of hair color. It washes out with just water. The court will also recall that the Amazing Ninetales mask washed up along the side of the village river with white hair inside it. What's this? Are you saying that preening peacock's hair color is... That's exactly what I'm saying. Mr. LaBelle's hair color is a freaky work of fiction, but thanks to the river flowing through the Ninetales Vale, we now have a real-life expose. This got poetic real quick. The white hair in this mask is conclusive evidence proving you're the real killer. A DNA test is all we need to prove it, and we both know we'll get a match. Admit it, Florent LaBelle. You were the one who killed Alderman Rex Cubey.
You... peasant! How dare you! You profane my beauty, I'm going to exterminate you like I did the alderman! No! My makeup!
Just run a DNA test on the hair. Shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. Exactly. Oh no.
Hello, this is LaBelle. What? The project is off. This is LaBelle. The sponsors have pulled out. LaBelle speaking. I'm fired. You mean I'm no longer Mayor Tenma's aide? Hello, this is LaBelle. What? There's been a stratospheric damages claim against $100 million. I'm finished, washed up, stick a fork in me. I'm done.
Yeah, that's... It's somewhere on the list of things that would never happen in a real courtroom. This is preposterous. I, Simon Blackwell, defeated? Order! Order! Order in the court! Well, this is quite the unexpected outcome. I must hand it to you, Mr. Justice. You really turned this case on its head, just like that other lawyer, Phoenix Wright. The only 2 lawyers who overturn cases ever. Wait, that was a compliment, right? Prosecutor Blackwell, what have you done with Florent LaBelle? The defaced man has withered like a flower without water. One of the officers is currently tending to him with a sprinkler. Wouldn't that just wash even more of his makeup off? Allow me to explain the actions of the guilty party in detail. The motive, of course, was to steal the gold ingot known as Tenmatara. However, few are allowed into the manor due to its cultural ties to Ninetales Vale. LaBelle set in motion plans to gain access to the manor, and the gold within via the merger. But the efforts of the Amazing Ninetales saw those plans come to a halt, and thus LaBelle murdered the alderman and attempted to pin the blame on Mayor Tenma. I see. But I still can't comprehend... What I still can't comprehend is why would he go after the gold in the first place? Mr. LaBelle doesn't look like someone who is in need of financial aid. LaBelle hid his past well, much like he hid his beauty. With makeup, he's mired in debt. Debt due to pouring money into a brand only he could love, which is why he sought the gold with such veracity. Too bad for him, someone else had gotten to it first anyway. Also, too bad for him that he didn't think of just, like, going in the middle of the night with Just hammer and a flashlight, break the window, just run in there. Well, wait, who had the key? He could have, whatever. He could have gotten there. He didn't need to do this whole merger thing. They're saying that the whole merger, I'm blackmailing, I'm going to kill your wife in the hospital unless you merge the two towns, so that I, as the aide to the other guy, get permission to hang out in the manor, where I will then get a hold of the key and get into the thing and take the thing and to go away. I believe it's time I declared a verdict. This court finds the defendant, Damien Tenma, not guilty. There have been more there have been more ridiculous motives for murder in this series. I have no complaints. I still enjoyed the case a lot. Court is adjourned. That was some seriously good lawyering, Apollo. Even I didn't see that coming. Just got lucky, I guess. You banished Tenma Taro from Ninetails Vale like you were some sort of exorcist. There's still one thing I don't understand. How come Mr. LaBelle didn't kill Mayor Tenma, too? He could have set it up so the mayor murdered the alderman, then died from a counterattack. That would have removed at least one possible fly from the ointment. I was wondering about that, too. But I have a hunch LaBelle was biding his time. He was planning on exposing the Amazing Ninetails' true identity himself. Huh? But why? Because the mayor was the Amazing Ninetails. Had LaBelle succeeded in framing Mayor Tenma for the alderman's murder, the wrestler's popularity would have plummeted once his identity was revealed. Oh, I get it. If the Amazing Ninetails was just killed, he'd die a hero, but if he was proved a villain, his fans would abandon him, making the Who cares about the if you kill the guy? Wasn't the plan to, get the... I don't know. Right. Then, when the merger was complete and everything cooled down, he'd be able to search the Forbidden Chamber at his leisure. What an insanely intricate plot.
Caw. A most excellent job clearing my name.
Yeah, at this point, the judge should declare every defendant not guilty. Yeah, well, except for the one guy who actually was guilty. Which was an interesting twist. And really does kind of call into question Phoenix's whole always trust your client. Absolutely number one rule, always believe that your client is completely innocent.
A feat worthy of the Demon Lord's approval.
Why are you acting like Tenma Taro again?
Let this be of no concern to you.
How could it not concern you? Tenma Taro, be gone!
Gah! Jinxie, seems like ages since I've laid eyes on you.
Papa, you're finally back.
Yes, it would seem Tenma Taro is no match for you. Ha ha ha.
I'm not scared of that silly yokai anymore. Your father's a free man now, Jinxie. Isn't that great? Thank you for all you've done. Seeing you guys in action, it made me feel like I don't have to be afraid anymore. Wait, is Jinxie actually smiling?
This is all thanks to you two. Too bad the Amazing Ninetails will have to retire, though.
Aw, how come?
Once everyone hears I'm the Amazing Ninetails, my fan base will nosedive. After all, I'm not the most popular of people. Another reason for my secret identity. I don't see how I could possibly continue.
Hee, I think you've misjudged yourself. Take a look outside.
Say, now that you mention it, what's all that noise out there?
A big crowd gathered outside the courtroom once the news broke. Seems they want to get a glimpse of Mayor Damien Tenma, the man behind the mask, and to root for your return to the wrestling ring.
Rooting for me? But I thought I than a malefactor in their eyes.
The only one who really matters is Jinxie. Show her how cool you really are. Yeah, you're the coolest when you're out there fighting in the ring, Papa.
Jinxie.
Here, I think you'll be needing this, an attorney's badge. So that you can stop being a mayor or a wrestler, be a lawyer instead. Oops, I presented the wrong evidence by mistake.
Thank you. Now, if you will excuse me. I don't want to keep my fans waiting.
Wait, what is this? I sure hope they can settle the problems between Tenma and Ninetales Vale. Me too. I'm sure they'll be fine. After all, the blackmailer/killer is behind bars, and the merger is no longer an issue. Plus, The Amazing Ninetales is obviously still a hit, and I suspect Ninetales Vale will be too. And it's all because we believed in our client, just like you said. Okay, people. Now that we've got that one in the bag, let's go get something to eat. I'm starving. Sounds good. I've been so nervous I haven't eaten since yesterday. It's not good for you. Better keep eating, Apollo. Or you might have to start looking... Oh, because he won't get taller if he doesn't eat? Okay. Or you might have to start looking up at me. Huh? I'm definitely past my growth phase, and you should be about past yours, too. Are you kidding me? I'm just getting started. Ready or not, it's face stuffing time. Keep eating like that, and the only direction you'll grow is sideways. Very funny. But I've got a hollow leg. I can eat as much as I want without gaining an ounce. Really? Wow, I can't wait to see this. Calories? Ha! Just let them try to stick on me. Alright already, you two. Let's get going before Old Man Hamburger closes up the hamburger shop. Oh, Eldoon's Noodles isn't an all-night stand, you know. I'm with Mr. Wright. Let's go. I've been waiting to have a bowl from there ever since Mr. Wright told me about them. Well, what are we waiting for? The noodles are on me today, so I expect some serious eating from you two. Yay, thanks, boss. I won't let you down. Athena has no idea what she's getting into. Mr. Eldoon's noodles are so hot and salty, 2 bowls would kill a man. Yeah, I wonder if she'll come back. She might be. She might be coming back at some point in here. It would be fun to see her, you know, animated as well. Because the only games she's been in have been the sprite-based. Oh no, I was supposed to be reading. The Dark Age of the Law seemed so distant, so irrelevant to our small, cozy office. But little did I know that it had been lurking all along, right there behind us. The first time it made itself known was during the murder at Themis Legal Academy. That case would mark the twilight before the dark, cold night that was to come. Does that mean we're flashing even further back for Case 3? Episode 3, Turnabout Academy, which we will start next
Themis
time.
Legal Academy, a prestigious high school with alumni in the highest echelons of the legal world.
Telling me someone was murdered in a high school? A high school where all the best students in Japan go? I mean, Japanifornia? Maybe we can hold a trial inside the classroom. A classroom trial. A class trial, if you will. We'll do that next time. Yes, that was the most American of schools with the most American bell. Did this one come out after? I mean, obviously the first Phoenix Wright games predated Danganronpa by quite a bit. Did this one come before or after? I wonder. Not that it matters. All right, so that's it for tonight. Thank you, everybody. Saturday, stop by for more Baba Is You, which we are like deep in the muck on that one. We are going super deep for bonus secrets. I found the first bonus. That's as far as we've gotten. And then Sunday will be Mentor Roulettes in Final Fantasy XIV, returning to Phoenix Wright next Tuesday. Thank you so much, everybody. I will see you next time.